Good day and welcome to this week's Silly Point podcast. I'm joined this week by Scott Sawyer from the Sunshine Coast Daily newspaper in Queensland, and our special guest today is Nick Selman, an up-and-coming Australian opener who's been playing for Glamorgan for the last 4 or 5 years. Welcome to you both. How are you?
Good, mate. How's things?
Very good. Thank you very much for having us, lads, and looking forward to having a bit of a chat about cricket.
Good, mate. I'll let Nick, just before we get into what you've been doing over the last 5 years, just tell us how you got into the game and why you've decided that cricket's the game for you.
I suppose a long story short, I started off playing my cricket out in Maloney and just played juniors there and just worked my way up playing senior cricket for Glasshouse and then into the Sunshine Coast Scorchers set up there, and it gets a little bit complicated there where I guess you could say probably was a little bit unlucky in saying that was in an age group where I had your Sam Hazlett's, Matt Renshaw's and your Ben McDermott's and Marnus Lavishane's, and I think playing for Queensland I was probably not good enough and decided to use my dual passport and head over to the UK and then luckily was trialled a few years for Kent and found my way at Glamorgan and been playing there for the last 5 seasons, I think it is.
So how did you find playing in England when you first got there? Was it a tough initiation from the hot climes of Australia?
Yeah, I think my first ever game was at Sevenoaks Vine, and I think it was about early April, and it was about 4 degrees, and I couldn't believe we were playing. The wicket was mud, and I couldn't feel my fingers, and I think I got a third ball duck or something. I was just like, nah, this ain't great fun. But the club cricket over there is just it's unbelievable. I recommend it to any young up and coming cricketer. You learn so much, and you have a great time over there as well.
Which club were you in Kent when you first got there then? Where did you end up playing?
I played at Tunbridge Wells.
Right, yeah.
They play a little bit of they play a county festival there, and really good ground. It's probably one of the flattest decks in Kent. So I was a batter like myself. Enjoyed playing there, and was lucky enough to have 2 seasons there and had a blast playing there. And I've played. I played for a few clubs actually over in the UK. Played a few in Cardiff as well. And like I said, every club you play for, it's such a different culture compared to out here in Australia.
What did you find was the biggest, I guess, learning curve when you got over there, mate? What was the biggest difference in cricket over there compared to, I guess, your sunny coast sort of grounding?
I think you just get with a batting kind of point of view, it's more. Bowlers are a lot slower over there. They're a lot skillful, I suppose, with wickets being a lot slower and obviously greener as well. But it's, I don't know, it's not a completely different ball game in regards to batting, but like I said, the wickets are so much slower. It's such more of a front foot game over there in regards to batting and you play so many games of cricket over there. Even if you play club cricket, so you've got the chance to learn and learn about your game technique and how the game's played over there. So for me, it helped my game, without doubt.
How do you find adjusting? Obviously, you split your time still with the Scorchers and that too. How do you find the adjustment when you come back too? Does it take a couple of weeks to sort of switch into a different frame of mind when you get back here, or how do you go about that? You probably got it pretty well nailed down now.
I think it's more just going over there. The issue going over there is obviously early doors, wickets are a lot greener. You've just got to adjust technically in regards to if I am out in front as a batter, I'm probably going to nick them. Obviously with the Duke ball moving around a lot more, so it's more just being a lot more tighter, playing the ball later. And coming back over here in Oz, the wickets are so much flatter, and you use the Kookaburra turf ball, and it doesn't really do a great deal. It's a little bit more bouncier, but it doesn't take in my opinion, a great deal to adjust. It's going, like I said, going over the UK, and it takes a good couple of weeks, in my opinion. especially when you lead into a county season, to get used to those, green wet green seamers.
What about off the field, Nick? How did you adjust to life in England first of all? Then when you went to Glamorgan in 2015, how do you adjust to life in Wales? It's a pretty different culture down there compared to what you're used to on the Sunshine Coast.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, no doubt. I think I've lived in UK itself for 7 years, and I haven't driven a car. So, and obviously when I get back to Oz, I drive everywhere. Whereas in UK, you're literally walking distance from your grocery stores, your pubs, and even the cricket ground. Like lucky enough, I live walking distance. When I lived in Kent to my club ground, and even now when I live in Cardiff, I live about 5-10 minute walk from the ground. So everything's just so condensed, and I apart from probably March and April, great place to live. It's those months they're a little bit too cold for me, but during the summer, there's no better place to live, in my opinion.
They like to get on the beer in Wales. Have you sort of like been able to let your hair down a bit while you've been there as well off season?
Yeah, look, there's always the opportunity to have a beer, especially in UK and with Glamorgan. The boys are a great bunch of lads, and even our coaching staff. We're lucky enough to have some guys who've played at the higher level with Matt Maynard and Steve Watkin and even the likes of Mark Wallace, who's played a lot of first class cricket, and those guys, they're old school, and they're all for us having a beer after the day's play. But the main thing is we rock up the next day, we're ready to go. So I don't know, when Matt took over, it's quite funny. He's a big believer in, boys, I don't care what you do, as long as you're in bed by 11:30 and you're good to go the next morning. I don't care.
Well, he would have enjoyed the likes of Roy Symons when he turned up at Cardiff once, when he was a half cut, should we say, or not ready for fit, and he got banned, I think, from a one-day international. He didn't play that day.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about Andrew Symons and when he played at Gloucester, but I suppose that's for another day.
So you mentioned Matthew Maynard, obviously one of England's, better players over the last few years, but unlucky not to have played more times for his country. What have you learned from somebody who's been a class player for a long time in the county game?
Yeah, Matt was a great player when he played back in the day. I think he holds probably every record in regards with batting with Glamorgan, and when Marnus came over and played with, I think it was 2 years ago. He helped this game, without doubt. And he's a bit, like I said, he's old school. He wants you to play hard cricket. Very intelligent about life, but in regards with batting as well. He's a big thinker of the game, and he's great to pick someone's brain about. He's, like I said, he's played for England. He was the batting coach for the 05-06 Ashes England team. So he's got that experience and been around the traps, and I think I've known him for about 3-4 years now, and I love working with batting. He's a guy who will chuck your balls, for hours on end and talk batting. Worked a lot with my game against spin. Just kind of different theories and techniques he's got against spinners. Yeah, it's different to other coaches, and like I said, he's one of the best coaches I've come across in my career to date.
Mate, speaking of obviously that sort of dedication to the technique and the throwdowns, it sounds like another bloke you spent some time with too, Marnus. What was it like batting with that bloke, and what did you? Are you surprised at all with how he's gone since he slotted into that Test team?
I like everyone who's probably been asked that question as well, in regards to surprised the way he's going, and without doubt, no surprise that I think he's averaging about 60 or 70. I think. He's very similar to Matt Maynard as well, and how they think about the game, Playing with him for a season, he's. I suppose it's the same like everyone says. He talks about cricket so much, and there comes times where you're just like, mate, you just need to shut up and just like talk about something else. I love cricket. Don't get me wrong. I'm probably classed as a Badger as well myself, but you'd play a 4-day game, and then because I lived around the corner from him, and we'd go out, next day we'd have a coffee and, we'd talk about something, but then, 2 minutes in, it's back to cricket, batting, what are your thoughts on me dismissal? I'm like, mate, I just need to get away here and talk about something else. But yeah, like I said, again, he was one who, Matt would, chuck balls hours on end to and made a huge difference in the way he went about his batting. And he's a freak. And like I said, no surprise, he's dominating Test cricket.
Long term too. Do you have obviously got your dual citizenship sitting there as well? Do you have any sort of, I guess, eyes on higher honours too? Your form's been pretty solid, at least the last couple of seasons as well. Are you looking to press claims, I guess, even for England as well? Is that in the mix, or what are you seeing yourself at?
Obviously England. Mate.
Yeah, of course. I think I qualified 2 years ago when the Jofra Archer rule came in, and they changed the years you had to spend in the country from 7 to 3. So I qualified a couple of years ago, and it's like any first class cricketer, I guess. They dream to play international cricket. Someone like myself who's a dual passport holder, I think will be tough. Even if I did say average 40 to 45, I think, without saying anything controversial, I think they're very set on, picking homegrown England players. But like I said, there's no doubt, if I put those runs on the board, average 55 to 50, there's no doubt, I'm going to put my name in the hat. But I'm only 25, and there's a long way to go. And the old touche is, you never know.
If you can get yourself to South Africa, you might be half a chance, mate. Getting into that English side.
Zimbabwe, mate. Zimbabwe, yeah. I'll go into it.
Mate, just I guess a bit more, probably slightly off the field now, but I think you've sort of got ripped into a bit of a business, obviously your own bats and batting equipment, things like that. Is that sort of chipping away in the background as well? How are you going there?
Yeah. I started up a company called Darkhorse Cricket about 3 years ago, I think it was. And like I said before, I'm a bit of a cricket badger and tragic as well, I guess you could say. I just get, I guess, a little bit of a hobby / just kind of get my mind off cricket playing such. I know it's something to do with cricket, but over the years it's kind of just made me think about other kind of aspects to life, particularly business, I guess. And it's like I said, a bit of a hobby, and it's great to actually see it in the Big Bash this year as well, with obviously James Baisley using it. So I don't think I've ever been as nervous watching a game of cricket when he went out to bat in his first game. I was just hoping he wasn't going to break one on TV, and if that happened, the business would have been down the gurgler. But he's going well. And I guess I can say it's all to do with the bats.
Mate, what have you? Obviously, it's one of the things that keeps coming up every time you watch a game these days. You can't help but notice how much the equipment has changed. What have you learned even through that business process, just about the bat making process now? They're a different beast than what they were 10, 15 years ago. Yeah,
it's funny, like myself and Marnus as well. Like that's a big one as well. Like he loves his bats, and when he played with us, that's something we'd always talk about, is this kind of bats, where you get your bats made. We'd just, talk about bats and talk about bat makers and how they go about how they go about making their bats. And it's interesting, it's a tough one. I mean, in my opinion, I think best bats made are in England, just because there's so much history. Exactly, but there's so much history, and guys have been making them for years over there. But in saying that, like talking to Maynard as well, you get a lot of good bats out of India as well. I think people get scared off from this bats made in India kind of, I guess, myth. But there's guys over there who have been making them for years as well, and they make some serious bats. But the reason behind why I kind of started it was you just see the bats price these days, and they're skyward of like $1,500 and even like $2,000, and I like the price they make them for is you'd be very surprised how much they make them for. It's less than $100, and to see it sold for a month's rent is ludicrous. So that's why I kind of wanted to start something up and make good quality bats at an affordable price as well. And look, at the moment, like I said, it's a hobby, but in years to come, you never know. It could be something I do full time.
Do you remember as a kid, do you remember what your first one was that you picked up?
My first bat was a Gabba. And yeah, it was one of the, well, as a kid, I thought it was one of the best bats ever. And then I just loved a Kookaburra Kahuna. And I got one every year, obviously because of punter. And I reckon I got a Kahuna for about 10 years. I reckon Mum and Dad probably weren't happy in regards to buying one each year, but and then I moved into grey nickels, GM. Loved GM bats when I was younger, and then when I started playing pro cricket, my first sponsor was Newbury, who make very nice bats as well, and then obviously moved into well, I guess sponsoring myself.
Way to do it.
That's right. Nick, this year has seen a change in county cricket going to the regional fixtures, and also we introduced that Bob Willis Trophy, which enabled younger cricketers to come through while the test players are elsewhere. Has that helped your career? Has that also helped you get noticed by the Australian hierarchy?
No, it's an interesting one because, like I said, I've kind of pledged my allegiance into UK. So I don't really have a great deal to do with Australian cricket anymore. It's an interesting one because when I was younger, I mean, the dream was to play for Queensland and to play for Australia. And to be brutally honest, I don't think that's ever going to happen as much as I still kind of do in the back of my head. But it's one of those things. Like I said, I enjoy playing over in the UK, and your first question there about the Bob Willis Trophy, I think last year when they managed to get it going with COVID, and it was great because it got a great deal of a higher audience watching it with the live streams going around the country, and it's like Test cricket as well. I think it is. I think people want to watch T20 and one-day cricket, and it's a shame, but I feel like four-day cricket, first-class cricket, and Test match cricket, it's the best format in cricket because it's such a skillful game. That's where you see your best of your best playing and performing. And like I said, that's the way it goes in county cricket as well. I think county cricket's probably the toughest 4-day competition in the world, in my opinion. I just think the conditions you get different wickets each week. You get green seamers, you get flat wickets, you get bunts and burners, and the best players who do well over there are the ones who adapt the best. And like I said, someone like Amanis who play with us and average 70 to 80, display that. And I've been lucky enough to play with guys like Usman Khawaja, Jack Rudolph, and Colin Ingram, and those guys. Once again, the way they score runs is by adapting to those different wickets. And I suppose to add on that question before about playing for England, I think if I can do that personally, that's going to give me the best chance to average 50, 55 a season. Is to adapt to those different bowling conditions.
Mate, how hard is it as a fairly young bloke too? Like, are you torn between the potential to maybe chase the riches in that short format, as opposed to sort of knuckling down in the county championship too. It's, you see guys like Maynard, it seems to set them up, and you can see they prioritise a long format. Is that something that, is that a battle that's you've sort of had to make a decision at some point too?
Not really at the moment. I just think I'm still learning my game in T20 cricket, but funny enough, I kind of think it's probably my best format in regards to, I suppose, when you look at my stats, they're my best stats, even compared to 4-day cricket. But I love 4-day cricket, and it's tough. Don't get me wrong, and technically you've got to be spot on, and I'm still learning my craft in all formats. And yeah, it's hard when you see someone who gets 250 grand for 6 weeks playing a big bash tournament, and you're a 4-day specialist, and well, you're getting a sliver of that. It's a tough one, but at the moment I'm just looking to play all 3 forms. And look, if I do well in T20 cricket and that path does come about, I mean, it's something to think about. But at the moment, 4-day cricket and trying to play Test cricket is still the dream.
As a young bloke, you had a pretty big decision to make too. You were a very handy Aussie Rules player too as a kid. Did you? Is that something you ever look back on too now? Or?
Yeah, it's a funny one. It always comes kind of up with, especially my cousin. Me and my cousin are very good mates, and we always kind of talk about it, about what would happen if I did go down that Aussie Rules path. And I think, looking back at it, I was probably a very lazy Aussie Rules trainer. I didn't like the fitness side of things, hence the going down the cricket path. As well, there's not a great deal of there is, but with the Aussie Rules, I guess I was tall, I had good hands, played half forward, and if I probably put all my focus into playing Aussie Rules, I reckon could have got drafted, but I don't think I would have played a game. There's such a big difference to getting drafted and actually playing Aussie Rules football. It's a different kettle of fish, I guess. And yeah, I looking back, I think I've chosen the right path, playing cricket, and I suppose it's easier said when you've played 5 years of professional cricket, but I don't know. I mean, you see the guys run around on the Aussie Rule field. I play with a couple of guys who are now playing professionally, and it's just kind of funny how you go, I used to play with him, and he's now playing, for the Brizzy Lions, and you go, oh, geez, if I actually did, have a crack and went down that path, who knows? But yeah, I don't regret going down that cricket path.
Is there truth to there was a story that came out, you nickname your bats after racehorses? Is that legitimate?
It is. I initially, it's funny. I used to, when I was about 18, 19, 20, I used to be a big greyhound punter. Loved it. Now I love horse racing. I suppose that comes with playing a lot of grade cricket as, when I was even when I was 15, 16, I'd just, after training, you'd go down to the pub and there'd just be, greyhounds and horse racing, and I loved it. And when I was 18, 19, I loved me greyhounds, and would name me bats after the winner of the Melbourne Cup Greyhound final. And I think it was one year, it was a greyhound called Worm Burner, and I'd always name the best greyhounds with my number one bat. And yeah, now I think the last kind of 2-3 years it's gone the racehorses, and I don't know, it's just something it's just a bit of fun, and it's quite funny. Like sometimes when I'm actually batting, I kind of non-strikers, and you look down your bat and you've got I don't know, a horse called like an Abel, who's one of the best kind of fillies over in UK, just retired, and you kind of like, even when you're batting, you look down and you kind of like think about the races that's the horses won, and like kind of puts your mind off cricket, I guess, whilst you're out in the middle. But it's just, I don't know, just a little bit of fun as well. Nick,
just one more question about your career as a cricketer. us in Australia can't imagine what it's been like in the UK during COVID. Can you just explain what that's been like as a cricketer and as life in general? And where do you think your future lies within the cricket scheme in England then?
Yeah, sorry, I keep saying this year. 2020, was tough. I suppose every sport struggled, but I think for us over in the UK, it was tough with I think it was about 3.5 months lockdown, as in just you're allowed 1 hour out and get your groceries really. So it was tough, and then it was just a month of training to kind of get back into it, because most of the guys didn't pick up a bat for 3-4 months, and it was all kind of a bit last minute, kind of right. We're back on 1st of July training for 3-4 weeks, all systems go, and then bang straight into some games. And it's I suppose it was probably more tough on the bowlers in regards to kind of not being able to bowl on wickets and get those workloads up. And I suppose each team probably had the same problem, but we had a few bowlers that broke down, probably due to lack of bowling throughout the year. And as a batting point of view as well, I think kind of losing that sharpness, facing guys who bowl 130, 140 Ks, kind of getting used to that. You can train as much as you want, but as soon as you're in a game, that kind of intensity changes. And with limited games that we did play, guys were kind of peaking at the end, and then all of a sudden the season stopped. And but in saying that, we were lucky to play cricket over there.
Nick, so obviously you've come from that, I guess, bubble life. What's it been like, I guess, coming back over here to grade cricket, where you're basically free to do what you want pretty much, beaches every week, and your boys are pretty free to hit the pubs? What's it been like making the transition?
Unreal. I suppose when I obviously had to do 2 weeks hotel quarantine, and as soon as I left, I thought it was kind of still like it was in the UK, I guess. I was about to walk into Woolies and put my mask on, and then realise it's an absolute free-for-all here. And then I think 2 days later I was having a beer in a pub, which was unheard of in the UK. And it's been great. I suppose on the social kind of thing, being obviously making the most of that, and just going having a feed with the boys, with your mates, and having a beer as well, and going to the races as well, which I love doing. And is compared to what they're doing in the UK, where they're going into lockdown, going out, not knowing what's going on, and then the uncertainty of catching the virus and potentially even dying. I think I know where I'd rather be, and even though it's it wasn't cheap to come over here, and it's without doubt worth it. And I suppose it's an interesting kind of month ahead in regards to kind of seeing where the UK is in regards to COVID, and making a decision to go back over there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, mate. Is it I guess, out of your hands to a degree too? Is it just sort of wait and see what does happen there? Are you confident you will be able to get back in if they push on with the season, or what are you bracing for maybe a longer than you thought sort of time still in Australia?
At the moment, it's kind of all up in the air. Like as we speak, it's kind of just been talked about with me and the club, and it's just kind of just taking it day by day and just looking at the cases and the deaths they get over there, and then just kind of playing it by ear, really. I obviously would love to play pro cricket and play another season over there, but if it does get worse, I don't think it will, looking at what's happening over there at the moment with the vaccines and the lockdown. But if it does, it's still, unsafe, and with what's going on, I suppose, decisions have to be made, I guess. And but like I said, it's just kind of just play it, well, at the moment, day by day, really.
We might take it alternating and throw a few quick singles at you if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might have mentioned him already, but most annoying teammate or opponent?
Teammate would have to be Manus Lavashakni, or whatever you pronounce his last name. He's up there. And Opposition player, I suppose it would be probably someone who'd probably get me out a lot, and that would either be Steve McGoffin back in the day or Joe Leach, who plays for Worcestershire.
So you've probably answered this one too then. The toughest bowler you've faced?
Yes. Guys you probably, like I said, never heard. Like Joe Leach from Worcester, probably no one's ever heard of him, and he's just a proper skillful county pro, along with, like I said, Steve McGoffin. Like I said, I've come across them. You come across them, decent bowlers over there. Your Joffa Archers, Stuart Broads, even your mystery spinners like Majib and Rashid Khan. They've been tough, but for me, like I said, Joe Leach, he's got me out about 9 times out of 10 innings.
Favourite ground you played at, mate? Anywhere in the world?
Favourite ground would, I'd have to say Lords, but to change it up, because I know that would be a no-brainer, would have to say Tunbridge Wells, where I played my club cricket. Love playing there. Great ground, great for batting, and like I said, great club as well.
Awesome, mate. And mate, if obviously, if you'd never heard of cricket, what would you be doing if it wasn't playing professional cricket? What would you be up to? Another good question. I'd probably, at the moment, would run my company, Darkhorse Cricket, try and do that. I suppose properly, and then also I've got a bit of a passion for groundskeeping as well, looking after the wickets there, and that would be something I would be interested in doing, and also I guess lastly we'd probably be having a crack at being a pro punter as well. We'd love to have a little dabble into that area, but we'll see what happens.
Last one, your favourite band or pop music you like?
Favourite band? Tough one. Cold Chisel, I'd say. I never heard of them probably about 2 years. Yeah, but I never heard of them probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and then somehow I know unheard of, and then I heard of them, and they're I'm always playing them when I go for runs, even in the car. I love them. Can't beat a bit of Chisel.
Brilliant. Good luck to you in the future. I don't know what it would be like for an Englishman allowing a guy with an accent like yours into the England team, but if you can bat as well as you talk, I reckon you'll do a good job for the Poms. They might need an opener in the Sri Lanka after what they did just in the Test match just there. What do you reckon?
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose hopefully Dom Sibley or Zach Crawley can make a couple lowies, and then, you never know. But like I said, hopefully a couple of years down the track, I can put the 3 lines on and play a bit of Test cricket.
Thanks for talking to us tonight, mate, and maybe we'll get you on when you do pull on the 3 lions.
Absolutely. No worries, guys. Well, thanks very much for having us.
Fantastic.
Thanks, mate.